In life, we all experience relationships that bring both joy and hardship. Whether in friendships, professional connections, or romantic relationships, understanding the motives of others is crucial for maintaining our emotional and mental well-being. However, some people come into our lives with less than honorable intentions, using us for their benefit without any genuine care for our feelings or well-being. At first, their behavior can be subtle, but over time, it slowly erodes our sense of self-worth and trust in others. Recognizing when someone is using you and doesn't truly care about you can be difficult, but it's an essential skill for protecting your peace of mind. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers powerful tools to navigate these complex dynamics. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, thoughts, and reactions, while accepting that we cannot control the behavior of others. This mindset helps us stay emotionally resilient in the face of manipulation and indifference, enabling us to make clear-headed decisions about who we allow into our lives. You may have found yourself in situations where you sense that something just doesn't feel right in a relationship. Perhaps a friend, partner, or colleague only seems to reach out when they need something from you, and when you need support, they're nowhere to be found. This inconsistency can leave you feeling confused, hurt, and unsure of whether you're being taken advantage of. But how can you be sure? How can you tell the difference between a genuine relationship and one where you're simply being used? By identifying certain attitudes and behaviors, you can gain clarity. In this video, we will explore 7 key attitudes of a person who only uses you and doesn't care about you. These red flags, though subtle at times, can help you recognize when a relationship has become one-sided. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll offer practical advice for managing these difficult relationships, maintaining control of your emotional reactions, and setting healthy boundaries to protect your peace of mind. This is not just about spotting toxic behavior. It's about reclaiming your power, understanding your worth, and aligning your relationships with your values. As the Stoics teach, when you recognize these red flags, you can practice the principle of apatheia, a peaceful state of mind free from harmful emotional disturbances. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached, but rather finding peace by focusing on the things you can control, like setting boundaries, protecting your energy, and choosing relationships that are built on mutual respect and care. Through this Stoic lens, we'll uncover the subtle signs that reveal when someone is manipulating you for their benefit. By understanding these 7 attitudes, you'll not only become more aware of toxic dynamics, but also learn to prioritize your emotional health, strengthen your resilience, and create space for relationships that truly nourish your well-being.
1. They are inconsistent in their behavior. One of the most obvious signs that someone is using you is their inconsistency. A person who only uses you will show up when it benefits them, but disappear when they don't need anything from you. They may be affectionate and attentive one day, then cold and distant the next. This hot and cold behavior is emotionally exhausting and leaves you questioning the relationship. A person who genuinely cares about you is consistent in their actions and shows up for you, regardless of whether they need something. The Stoics taught us to focus on our internal states rather than being swayed by the external world. In the case of inconsistent behavior, it's important to recognize that other people's actions are outside of your control. Instead of constantly analyzing why someone is behaving erratically, practice acceptance of their actions and focus on your response to them. Set boundaries, recognize patterns of inconsistency, and make peace with the idea that not everyone will be consistent in their care for you. The inconsistency in behavior from someone who uses you can go beyond just showing up when it's convenient for them. Often, they may be exceptionally kind and attentive when they need something, making you feel valued. This creates a cycle of confusion and self-doubt as you begin questioning whether you're overreacting or misinterpreting their actions. But deep down, the emotional whiplash from their unreliable presence leaves a lasting impact. These individuals know how to play on your empathy, often appearing when you're most vulnerable. They may feign interest in your struggles just long enough to draw you back into a cycle where you give more than you receive. Over time, this erodes your self-confidence as you begin to feel you're only worthy of attention when you're useful to them. A key Stoic principle is recognizing when someone's behavior doesn't align with virtues like honesty, integrity, and respect. Inconsistency is a signal that the relationship isn't built on solid ground. As Epictetus noted, it is not events that disturb people, but the judgments concerning them. By examining your judgment of this behavior, you can emotionally detach and see the situation for what it is, an imbalanced exchange where one person is taking more than they're giving. Don't allow their temporary kindness to blind you to the larger pattern of inconsistency. Trust your intuition when you sense their behavior is emotionally draining, and remind yourself that a relationship built on genuine care doesn't leave you feeling confused or devalued. Focus on protecting your emotional well-being by setting clear boundaries and distancing yourself from people who only appear when it benefits them. 2. They make you feel guilty for asking for help. Another hallmark attitude of someone who uses you is that they make you feel guilty when you ask for something in return. They might begrudgingly help or avoid helping altogether, often giving excuses as to why they can't assist. Rather than engage in a reciprocal relationship, they prioritize their own needs and leave you feeling as though you're a burden for even asking. This manipulation is designed to keep the relationship one-sided, where you are expected to give but receive very little in return. In Stoic philosophy, there is a concept known as sympatheia, which refers to the interconnectedness of all human beings. While Stoicism encourages you to help others when you can, it also teaches the importance of recognizing when a relationship becomes one-sided. You should strive for self-sufficiency and not rely heavily on others for happiness or validation. When someone refuses to help or makes you feel guilty for asking, it's an opportunity to reflect on your own independence and detach from any feelings of guilt or shame they may impose. By focusing on your inner strength, you retain autonomy and avoid emotional manipulation. When someone who uses you makes you feel guilty for asking for help, their tactics may vary. They might respond with exaggerated sighs, reluctant gestures, or passive-aggressive comments like, "I guess I can do it, but I'm really busy right now." These subtle forms of manipulation are designed to make you feel like your needs are inconvenient, reinforcing the notion that their priorities should come first. Over time, you may find yourself hesitating to ask for help at all, knowing the emotional toll it will take on you. They may also remind you of everything they've done for you as a way to guilt-trip you into feeling that your request is unreasonable. This can create a pattern of self-suppression where you hold back from seeking the support you deserve, further cementing the imbalance in the relationship. Stoicism teaches that relationships should be built on mutual respect, fairness, and virtue. If someone makes you feel guilty for asking for support, it's a sign that the relationship lacks the balance necessary for true connection. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." In other words, focus on ensuring your actions and relationships align with virtues like fairness and reciprocity. If someone isn't willing to offer support in return, the relationship may not be worth maintaining. Reevaluate the balance in your relationship. Are you always giving while the other person rarely returns the favor? Your needs are valid, and you deserve relationships where support flows both ways. If someone makes you feel guilty for asking for help, remind yourself that asking is part of any healthy relationship. Practice ataraxia, a state of inner tranquility, by not allowing their guilt-tripping to disturb your peace of mind. Focus on protecting your emotional well-being and create boundaries that prevent others from manipulating you. 3. They avoid deeper emotional connections. A person who only uses you may avoid meaningful conversations and emotional vulnerability. They keep things superficial, steering clear of discussing their feelings or asking about yours. This emotional distance signals they are not interested in forming a deep connection with you. They are more concerned with what you can provide for them than with your emotional well-being. The Stoics emphasized that relationships should be built on virtue, mutual respect, and emotional honesty. A lack of emotional depth indicates that a person isn't engaging with you on a meaningful level. Stoicism teaches that true connections are based on respect, trust, and the willingness to be emotionally open. If someone avoids emotional intimacy, it's a sign they aren't striving for a relationship grounded in these Stoic values. When someone consistently avoids deeper emotional connections, it's not only about skipping heart-to-heart conversations, it's a broader pattern of evasion. They may steer clear of vulnerable moments, choosing to keep the relationship at a surface level. This often manifests in trivial conversations, focusing on light-hearted banter or external topics, allowing them to remain emotionally distant. This detachment serves their purpose. They extract what they need from the relationship without investing emotionally. This lack of depth might make you feel as though you're walking on eggshells, hesitant to share your own vulnerabilities for fear of being dismissed or ignored. Over time, you may start to feel a profound sense of loneliness, realizing that the emotional support you offer isn't reciprocated. They might deflect your attempts to connect on a deeper level by shifting the conversation back to themselves or avoiding topics that require empathy or emotional involvement. Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once remarked, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." When someone refuses to share emotionally or understand your feelings, they aren't engaging in the kind of virtuous relationship Stoicism promotes. A relationship grounded in virtue requires both vulnerability and openness, qualities that reflect a genuine and meaningful connection. When these are absent, it's a sign the relationship lacks the depth Stoics encourage. Reflect on how often your conversations stay at a shallow level, and assess whether this fulfills your emotional needs. If someone repeatedly avoids meaningful exchanges, recognize that it's not your responsibility to chase emotional depth where it isn't willingly offered. Instead, invest your time and energy in relationships where both parties are emotionally engaged and willing to be vulnerable. Understand that emotional avoidance is often an indication that someone doesn't plan to invest in the relationship for the long term, and you deserve connections that provide mutual support and understanding. 4. They manipulate you through flattery and praise. Flattery and praise can be powerful tools of manipulation, especially when someone is focused on what they can gain from you. They might lavish you with compliments, praising your talents or generosity, but it's often a tactic to keep you in their favor, ensuring that you continue to meet their needs. This kind of flattery isn't genuine, it's transactional, designed to make you feel good temporarily while keeping the relationship one-sided. In Stoic philosophy, flattery and superficial praise were viewed with skepticism. The Stoics believed that true self-worth is cultivated from within, not from the opinions of others. When you recognize that someone's excessive praise is manipulative, you can distance yourself from the need for external validation and instead focus on building your own inner sense of worth. By doing this, you remain grounded in your values, rather than seeking approval from someone who may be using you. Flattery, when wielded strategically, can be incredibly disarming. A person using it as manipulation often times their compliments carefully. They may shower you with praise about your intelligence, generosity, or kindness just before asking for a favor. In the moment, their words feel gratifying, but deep down, you sense they're using flattery as a way to get something from you. Over time, this can leave you feeling off balance, craving their validation and subconsciously doing more to receive it, not realizing that their compliments are merely tools to keep you giving. This kind of manipulation can make you lose sight of your own worth. The praise becomes something you unknowingly start to rely on, bending over backward to receive more, playing directly into their control. What's important is recognizing that this flattery is not a reflection of your true value. It's simply a method to keep you in a position of giving. Real worth isn't measured by the fleeting praise of others, but by the strength of your own character. Epictetus, a key Stoic philosopher, reminded us that real value comes from within. As he famously said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Stoic wisdom teaches that your worth is not tied to what others think or say about you. Flattery may be a pleasant distraction, but it's ultimately irrelevant to your true self-worth, which should be rooted in your own character and actions, not in manipulative compliments designed to control you. When you notice a pattern where flattery is always followed by requests or favors, it's essential to step back and reflect. Are these compliments genuine, or are they part of a broader strategy to keep you giving more? Cultivating a sense of self-worth that doesn't rely on external validation can help you recognize manipulative flattery for what it is. When you feel that the praise is transactional, ask yourself whether this person truly appreciates you or is merely using you to fulfill their own needs. 5. They disregard your boundaries. A person who uses you will often push or ignore your boundaries. They may frequently ask for favors or support at inconvenient times, disregarding your personal space, emotional limits, or obligations. This disregard for your boundaries is a clear sign that their needs take precedence over your well-being. They may continually intrude, taking advantage of your kindness without concern for how it impacts your time or energy. The Stoics believed strongly in maintaining personal boundaries as part of upholding one's inner peace. Protecting your peace often means setting and enforcing boundaries, which is essential to living a balanced and virtuous life. When someone repeatedly disregards your limits, they demonstrate a lack of respect for you as an individual. Learning to assert your boundaries and confidently say no is vital for preserving your emotional well-being. A person who ignores your boundaries may cross lines without apology, acting as though your time and energy belong to them. They may call or text at inappropriate times, ask for favors without consideration for your schedule, or expect emotional support when you're already overwhelmed. This behavior often leaves you feeling drained, overextended, or guilty for wanting to protect your own well-being. When you try to assert your boundaries, they may react dismissively or accuse you of being selfish, making it difficult for you to feel justified in standing up for yourself. This guilt-tripping reinforces the one-sided nature of the relationship, where their needs are always prioritized over your emotional or physical limits. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial, as it reveals that they view you more as a resource than as an individual worthy of respect. In Stoic thought, Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of recognizing what is within your control, such as how you respond to people who disrespect your boundaries. As he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Setting boundaries is an exercise in self-control and self-respect. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you protect your peace by enforcing the limits you've set. When someone consistently dismisses your boundaries, it's important to recognize the impact it has on your mental and emotional well-being. No one should make you feel guilty for setting limits. Your peace of mind should always be your priority. Pay attention to how they react when you assert your boundaries. If they continue to be dismissive, it's a sign they don't respect you as a person and see you only as a means to an end. Don't hesitate to distance yourself from people who fail to honor your boundaries, as this is a key step in preserving your inner tranquility and well-being. 6. They are quick to blame you when things go wrong. A manipulative person often deflects responsibility and places blame on others. If someone uses you, they may quickly blame you for problems or mistakes, even when your involvement is minimal or non-existent. This tactic of shifting responsibility is designed to avoid accountability and maintain control over the situation. The Stoics emphasized personal responsibility and accountability, teaching us to focus on what we can control, our own reactions and decisions. When faced with unfair blame, it's essential to understand that such behavior reflects the character of the person shifting responsibility, not your own. Stoicism encourages maintaining calm and composure in the face of unjust criticism and staying centered on your own actions and responses. Manipulative individuals who use blame as a tool often engage in subtle or overt finger-pointing to divert attention from their own shortcomings. They might twist events or create scenarios where it seems as though you are at fault, even if the reality is quite different. This gaslighting behavior can leave you doubting your own judgment and questioning your version of events. By consistently shifting blame onto you, they keep you in a state of self-doubt and uncertainty. Over time, this can erode your confidence and make you more likely to acquiesce to their demands to avoid further conflict. This behavior is a clear indication that they prioritize maintaining control over taking responsibility for their own actions. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control others' actions, we can control our response to false accusations. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." When faced with unfair blame, it's crucial to stay grounded in your own truth and not let others' misdirection affect your self-perception. When you find yourself being blamed unfairly, take a step back and evaluate whether the blame is justified or if it's an attempt to deflect responsibility. Stand firm in your understanding of the situation and don't allow others to make you question your own perception of events. Recognize that a relationship where you are consistently made a scapegoat for problems beyond your control is not healthy, and it may be necessary to distance yourself from such dynamics to preserve your sense of self and peace of mind. 7. They disappear when you need them most. Finally, a person who only uses you will often disappear when you need them the most. They may readily take advantage of your time, energy, or resources, but when the situation is reversed and you require their support, they are nowhere to be found. This pattern of abandonment is a clear sign that they don't genuinely care about your well-being and are only interested in the relationship when it serves their interests. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control how we respond to their behavior. When someone consistently vanishes during your times of need, it's important to accept this reality and adjust your expectations. By detaching from unreliable individuals, you can focus on nurturing relationships with those who are genuinely supportive and dependable. A painful sign of someone using you is their absence when you are in need. These individuals may be quick to accept your help and support, but when you find yourself facing a crisis, be it emotional, physical, or financial, they disappear. They might make excuses, avoid your calls, or simply withdraw until the immediate crisis is over, only to reappear when it's convenient for them. Such behavior can be deeply hurtful and leave you feeling abandoned and questioning your own worth. You might even start to blame yourself for needing help, believing that if you hadn't been in a vulnerable position, they wouldn't have distanced themselves. However, a person who genuinely cares will not disappear during your time of need. They will stand by you and offer support without hesitation. The Stoics remind us to accept that not everyone will be reliable or supportive, and that such behaviors are beyond our control. As Epictetus advised, keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. If someone consistently disappears when you need them, understand that their actions reflect their character, not your worth. Reflect on how often they are genuinely present for you, especially during challenging times. If their support is only available when it benefits them, it's a sign to reassess the relationship. Release any feelings of guilt or self-blame for needing help. It's natural and human to rely on others. Focus on cultivating relationships with people who are consistently supportive and present, rather than those who are only around when it's convenient for them. Conclusion. Recognizing when someone is using you and doesn't genuinely care about you is a crucial step in safeguarding your emotional well-being. By identifying the 7 attitudes we've discussed, you can protect yourself from manipulative relationships and focus on fostering connections that are grounded in mutual respect, care, and support. Stoicism offers valuable insights for navigating these challenging situations. It teaches you to focus on what you can control, your own reactions, boundaries, and emotional resilience. By maintaining your inner peace and not being swayed by others' harmful actions, you can uphold your sense of self-worth and make choices that benefit your overall well-being. Dealing with people who use you without caring can be emotionally draining and leave you feeling unvalued. However, by recognizing these 7 attitudes, you can take charge of your emotional health and set firmer, healthier boundaries. Stoicism's emphasis on self-mastery, internal peace, and acceptance of what you cannot control provides a strong foundation for managing these relationships. The essence of Stoicism is understanding that while you cannot control how others act, you can control your response. By staying focused on your own peace and ensuring your relationships align with your values, you can shield yourself from the negative effects of one-sided or manipulative interactions. Ultimately, the goal is not to become hardened or detached, but to affirm your own worth and seek out relationships that are genuinely supportive and balanced. By applying these Stoic principles, you can navigate your relationships with clarity and confidence, ensuring that you invest in connections that enrich and uplift your life.